Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh. Yeah. It's percolating. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to the people on Facebook. Good morning to the people on IG. Good morning to the people on the YouTube. Good morning to the people on LinkedIn and Twitter too.
Java,
Percolating.
get a vibe, stay ready.
Truth in the cup, keep it strong, keep it steady.
Pull up a chair, yeah, take a sip with me.
Good morning, good people. Java with Jimmy. Good
Morning, good morning.
Yeah, the love percolating.
Vibe percolating.
Java with Jimmy. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
good morning.
Yeah, the love.
Vibe percolating.
Yeah,
Java with
Jimmy.
Good morning, percolating.
Yeah, we in it.
Yeah, we in it.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Java with Jimmy.
percolating.
Yeah, we in it.
Yeah, we in it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Java with Jimmy.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Make sure we're good. Okay, we are good. It is Tuesday, February 17th, 2000 and hold on, let me look up. Okay, yeah, I got it right. Tuesday, February 17th, and I'm trying to get myself here centered perfectly for the folks on Instagram. I fuss at my guests, and here I am uncentered. But shout out to everybody that's in the room this morning. Listen, we are talking about something that is very relevant to our community right now. And it is imperative that we get sort of an update from, I'll say, an academic, a legal, a advocacy, and a from a entity that's rooted in looking at things from an international perspective. And we'll talk about how they impact us here in New England and specifically Boston. And so that, it's they're statewide and they have offices all over the state, but well, we don't need to be Boston centric today as we're talking about embracing humanity but anyway, welcome to the Java Cafe. Thank you all for being here. As I have a guest, I will not be able to go in and do our greetings like we usually do, but I'm going to ask you to do me a huge favor and make sure that you hit that share button. So as many people as possible get this information. We're going to recalibrate it and put it in the reels and do an article about it. But we want to make sure that in real time that you have this information from Brother Jeff. I recently met him in October at our Red Cup Awards, and this has been a long time coming, but I believe timing is everything. And so also keeping in mind a little bit of this subject, don't forget at 12 noon today, we're coming back with our Congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley, who's going to chat with us about a few things, including the Epstein files and immigration as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to some and present to others. And I think I pronounced it right yesterday, but let's see if I get it right now. Jeff, there's a joke among with my audience that I have terrible pronunciation skills of names and nouns, people, places, and things. And so Jeff Thielman.
You got it, man. You're right on. Right on.
Listen. I'll give myself a hand for that because usually
you nailed it.
I got it. So welcome to the Java Cafe again. It's been a long time coming getting you here, and shout out to the folks over at Castle, Sandy, Connor, and David, and others that really liaised and made sure that this happened, that we bring this information to our community. Jeff, one of the things about my audience is they tend to hear better when they hear about the person that's delivering the message. And so first thing I'll ask you to do, we have about 23 minutes or so left. I would ask you if you would take 3 of them and just greet the audience and then tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into this position of advocating around immigration. And then we're going to get an update as you see things there at the Institute. We'll hear a little bit about the Institute and also the resources you offer. And from there, with the resources, people will find out how they can stay involved, how they can warn people. And so welcome to the Java Cafe. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Jimmy. So my name is Jeff Thielman. I'm the CEO of the International Institute of New England. And, you know, how I got here is, my way back when I graduated from college, I went to Peru as a volunteer for 3 years. And I taught English and taught history to students. And I also started a program for street children. And so while I was in Peru, I was a foreigner in another nation, and I was learning Spanish, and it was challenging. And I always felt that, I was welcomed by people. People helped me out. People felt the need to support what I was trying to do. And when I came back to the United States, I always felt that should be part of my core value. And so when I got a law degree, I practiced law for a brief time. Then I went out and I worked at a school the Jesuits started in the southwest side of Chicago for kids who were mostly from Mexico. Then I came back here. I ran a school in Boston called Cristo Rey Boston High School in Dorchester, right across from McKenna's over there. And I was there happily. And then I was recruited for this job about 11 years ago. And they were looking for someone to lead the organization. We have offices in Boston. We're in Chinatown. I'm in the Chinatown office today. We have an office in Lowell, a couple of offices in Lowell. Then we have an office in Manchester, New Hampshire. And it was a great opportunity to welcome people to the United States, which I believe is a core value of all of us, and to be part of the diversity and the richness of our culture here throughout New England. So that's kind of my story, Jimmy.
I am definitely glad to hear that and have you here to share the information, as well as, it really resonated with me that you had the understanding of what it is to be a foreigner in a different country. And you went there intentionally. Yeah. Versus some of our migrant brothers and sisters who have come out of a lot of need, and some in certain areas have just been, shipped, and I hate to, who by force have been migrated. Let me frame it like that. And so thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And so tell us about the International Institute of New England. What is the mission? What is the driving force behind it? And what, especially in these times, what is the goal of what you're working on in times present? Yeah.
So, the mission of our organization is to welcome people to New England, to help them to resettle, to teach them English, help them to advance in their careers by getting their first jobs and then advancing in careers. And then we provide legal services to people to help them to stay in the country for as long as they would like to stay in the country, hopefully forever. So we're an organization that has welcomed people for a long time. We were started by the YWCA back here in Boston in 1924 and in Lowell in 1918. In 1924, there was a load of anti-immigration laws that were passed by Congress and signed by the president. But the women at the YWCA were brave, and they said, we're going to welcome people from outside of the United States anyway. And so they set up a program to welcome. And they were mostly working with women and children back then. And over time, our programming has evolved. So we have about 155 staff in our 2 states. We have a legal services team. We have a whole team that teaches English. We have about 1,400 or 1,500 people learning English a year. We could use, if we had more money, we would teach more people English. That's a huge need. We have skills training programs, soft and hard skills training programs. And then we do a lot of case management with newly arrived folks. And so we saw, as you alluded to, Jimmy, a lot of people that migrated to the United States. They were forced to leave their countries. They came here. They were legally admitted in most cases to the United States of America. They've lost their status. The President Trump has tried to take away their status. and some have lost their status. But these folks have come to the U.S., have worked very hard here, and have added a lot of value. They're working in a lot of our industries. They're working in key industries right now. We have folks working in healthcare. We got folks working with seniors. We place people in all sorts of different places that are critical to our economy.
I definitely am aware of that. And I think of, a lot of our PCAs, a lot of our folks that work in environmental services, but even high-end positions, one of which I'm aware that is and let me, high-end and entry-level, career positions, but I'm aware of one at the State House. There was a story out, and to be very honest and transparent, I know one of the young women impacted, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see what is happening. And so one thing I heard in your comment there is in the origin of the Institute, what we're dealing with now. I think the aggression is very new, but you cited the fact that there were some things instituted by the president and the White House that caused the YWCA to create this organization. So we've been here before. And I think specifically, it's interesting for Black people across the diaspora that's looking at some things now, and it's like, we've been here. It doesn't excuse this aggressive behavior. And so in that, let me ask you, from your perception, your research, and things you're working on, what is the status of things present now? Like, what is the president's very aggressive, somewhat sometimes illegal, and sadly, in honoring their lives, lethal approach to immigration? What is the impact directly here? And it's a national issue, but you can, this is the Institute of New England. So you can, regions have different demonstrations of how federal policy impact based on income level, poverty, so please level set for us. What's the current status of things given current federal policy?
Yeah, I mean, the status is that, first of all, people are living with great fear right now. The Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement Division of the federal government, ICE, is acting in an extrajudicial or an illegal way all the time. So we've had, I'll give you an example. We had a client that we rehoused. We worked in the shelter system with Governor Healy and her staff, and we worked with a lot of immigrant families who came to Massachusetts, didn't have a place to live at first. They had emergency housing, and then we helped them to get rehoused. By the way, there's very few immigrant families left in the shelter system in Massachusetts, if any. And so all of these different organizations helped to get them out. We had a gentleman who was stopped, who had an asylum application pending, which means he's supposed to be protected. Nothing is supposed to happen to him. He had an employer authorization document that was good for 5 years. He has 2 little girls, a spouse, and he was picked up by ICE. He was brought out of state, and now he's in Texas. Different folks have raised money to help him with his legal fees. But these are examples that happen all the time. So what is happening is that ICE is acting or has acted in an indiscriminate manner. The majority of the American people do not like what they are seeing. That is clear to me. And people are living in fear, which means that people are not going to immigrants are not going to medical appointments. Sometimes their kids are not going to school. Anytime there's an ICE activity, kids don't go to school the next day or for the next few days. People are afraid to go to work in some cases. And we've had trouble getting people to come for English classes and programming here because people are nervous about leaving their homes and being out on the streets. And so there is a general state of fear. What we tell people is, if you get a letter from the U.S. government in any way, shape, or form, call us or call an organization, talk to an attorney, see what you were supposed to do. We've had some good wins lately, Jimmy, too. That's really important to understand. There was a recent court ruling. Federal District Court judge in Washington, D.C. ruled that temporary protected status could not be eliminated for Haitians. That was a huge win. I read that opinion. That opinion obliterated Christine Noem and her team, saying basically that, hey, you didn't follow the law. You didn't justify why people can go back to Haiti. You haven't certified that it's safe, and this is nonsense. So I really enjoyed reading that opinion, because basically this judge said, hey, this isn't fair. So people are standing up, and I think the most important thing right now is for people to say that this is not a fair way to live our lives.
There are a lot of legal implications in what's going on with immigration and how the law is being used. And I often see a lot of misinformation, whether bots or whether people with an agenda, and we all have agendas, quote unquote. But can you define for us some of the misconceptions around you in your opening? You mentioned that a lot of people that are being impacted are actually here legally. We've seen that there are born, bred American until they're dead citizens also, pulled in via ICE. And so may I ask you to just give us a couple of seconds around, can you clarify for us by what you're seeing in your serving our migrant brothers and sisters, what are some of the misconceptions out there and what is the truth, generally speaking? We understand, you say there are illegal migrants here because there are illegal, migrants here. Well, I won't get into commentary.
Yeah.
What's some of the misconceptions, and can you clarify for us generally what the status is of folks for which you're advocating?
Yeah. So first of all, if our organization served 13,000 people from Haiti between 2023, late 2022, and 2024. Those 13,000 people from Haiti came in a wave of people that were lawfully admitted to the United States. They came through a program called the Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, Venezuelan program, or they came through the Customs Border and Protection application process at the southern border. So they were lawfully admitted to the United States. They followed all of our laws. They showed up for all of their appointments. So first of all, it's important to understand there is a large group of people that came here lawfully. During the Biden administration, yes, there were some people that came here unlawfully, but please understand that those people got jobs. They have contributed to our economy. They have helped build the economy. The other thing that's a myth out there is people are saying, well, they're only arresting people who have committed crimes. That is not true. The Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, the Cato Institute has shown that less than 14% of those 400,000 people detained by ICE in President Trump's first year actually had a criminal violation or were charged with a crime. So they are not arresting people who are breaking the law. And the other thing is that it is important to understand that, the people that have been admitted to the United States that are working here in this country are adding value to the country every single day. Every single day. That's really important to understand. They're working in senior assisted living facilities. We've placed people in those facilities. They're working in healthcare. They're doing patient transport. They're cleaning up in the OR after an operation. They're working in warehouses. They're working in entry-level jobs. They're working in food prep. They're doing all this important work that is necessary to make the economy strong. Their children are in our schools all across this region. They're adding value. They're playing sports. They're part of a community now, and they're the next generation. And this region, I came to Boston in 1981 to go to college, so a long time ago. The only reason why we've grown is because new people have come here. There's been a huge growth in immigration. 29% of our city here in Boston is foreign born. And, without immigration, we would not be as strong as we are today. That is an unassailable fact.
There is a lot that our migrant community has definitely contributed on top of a lot of what, what found, and we're going to, have at some point this conversation just for my audience, what is known as foundational, Black Americans as well. Yep. And so there's so many perspectives of being here before where allies and people that have power and privilege have stepped in and said, now, hey, and one of my recent guests talked about, humanity, beyond the migrant, beyond Black, beyond being a woman, beyond, just humanity. And so I won't get too deep into that because, Jeff, if you're familiar, I can go a little left based on some things that my guests are sharing. And so one of the things that I have found interesting around misinformation is how people a lot of times with good intention are sharing from AI created to backdated incidents, repurposed videos and things like that. So there's a lot of misinformation out there that puts people in panic. And especially those that are at risk of being, aggressively approached, to it worse, being killed by ICE. What are some ways that our migrant community and then also our folks who are allies that just believe in humanity. What are some ways that folks can support our migrant brothers and sisters in a proactive way? And then also, if unfortunately, and there's been a lot of chatter about, a surge, in Boston, what is it that we can, what is it that our migrant brothers and sisters can do? And what is it that we can do with and for them if we at worst see a incident going on?
Yeah, I mean, first thing, migrant brothers and sisters, we've done a lot of work or many organizations in our Commonwealth have done work to educate people about people's rights. People should not allow anyone into their home without a search warrant signed by a judge, not a search warrant signed by ICE. People can be stopped on the streets. And so we always tell all of our refugee and immigrant clients to carry copies of their green card applications with them, their receipt for filing a green card. We tell people to carry with them at all times copies of any of their travel documents, copies of any documents they have that show they're here in the country lawfully. For those who are not here in the country lawfully, they have to be very careful. And there are networks that have popped up all over the state of people supporting one another. There are faith groups that are supporting folks. People should, if they get a notification from ICE or from the government for any particular reason, they should call us or another organization for assistance. So education is super important. In terms of the broader community, the broader community of the vast majority of people in this region who are, been here for a long time, their families have been here for a long time. It is really important that people get informed. They understand that this is a critical moment in American history. They cannot take democracy for granted. We have a situation right now in which due process is being violated throughout the country, in all of these ICE actions. And so it's really important for people to understand, don't take democracy for granted. Number two, it's important to keep doing what Americans do well, which is welcome people. We're actually a country that does immigration well. On the ground, not legally, not at the system, but people meet each other all the time. They go to school with people from other countries. Kids play with each other from other places. I'm aware that there's all sorts of prejudices in this society. I'm not naive to that, but actually we integrate and do immigration well, and we have to keep doing that. And I tell people, don't ever lose hope. And the other thing is just if you see something that is weird or dangerous, then take a photo. Film it. Amesa Ostrick was saved because someone was in a window who took a picture of her being captured by ICE, being detained by ICE. And that gave her, she's actually given an interview to this effect. That's a student at Tufts University. That gave her great hope that somebody was filming, somebody saw what happened to her. So it's important to kind of keep doing that. Keep taking video, keep taking pictures. Be safe. You got to be safe because these guys are nuts. But you got to keep engaged. Stay engaged. That's what I always say to folks.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. That the times are interesting, and how a lot of this is being demonstrated now is not new to this country.
No.
I think right now it is a focus through what the government views as legal ways to try to be aggressive via the government. And we've seen that before, what I mean? And it's just now our migrant brothers and sisters who are additional, victims of that. And so, Jeff, I just wanted to make sure my audience knows that in a banner here, you can just put this in. We make it simple here in the banner, but obviously you put www.iine.org. And I also have put the hyperlink in the comments on Java with Jimmy on Facebook, James on Facebook, and YouTube. And so for those of you that want to get involved and see what's going on, to hear about maybe trainings that take place, I'm sure you're in contact with Luce around some of the things that they're doing, and we're looking to chat with them as well, because I see are a key function in sort of some of the crisis response and in real time are navigating what we're seeing online versus what's truth. And so, Jeff, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, because this I've said for many, how ICE and things are moving for, I believe, Black America is some of us see this as an inroad, to some things, even going back as far as stop and frisk. You know what I mean? And so thank you for bringing that knowledge, and anything that we can do to just look at our brothers and sisters in humanity. And I'm going to get you off screen before I address a comment that I seen on Instagram. So you're not associated with my energy there. But Jeff, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And please be in touch about things that you're doing. And I look forward to seeing you again at a next Java Cafe event. I appreciate
Absolutely. Thank you. It was an honor to be here. Thanks for
Absolutely.
having me.
Thank you, brother.
Okay,
Appreciate
my friend. You take care.
Yes, sir. So now that Jeff is off the screen, let me say something to and I'll save the screen name for after the comment. What the comment says: the influx of illegal aliens. First of all, we've moved away from that term. Creates inflation to our economy. We need our borders protected. How can you put aliens again before American citizens? You have to come here the correct legal manner. Here's another point here that Jeff made, and this is why we have this platform and try to bring a lot of clarity to a lot of misinformation that's out there. He said a large majority of the folks are here legally. There's precedence that people and American born and bred until they're dead citizens have been retained by ICE. So, you know, Miss Velasquez, in whom I don't know, you could be a bot, you could be bought. Yeah, no. We don't allow that type of energy here in the Java Cafe. And so just so you're aware, people can make statements and whatnot, but if I see something like that, especially with the last name of Velasquez, there's some presumptions there, but come on, sis, do better. Just a couple of programming notes. At 12 p.m. today, we will speak with, and this will be a topic of our conversation along with a few other things. The Honorable Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley will be with us today for a midday Java at 12 noon. Please plan to join us. We will be glad to have you here. We will be one of the first folks that converse with her since she has reviewed the Epstein files, and we will talk about that as well. She is a notable public person about of being a victim of sexual assault, and so we understand that this is why this is, and you know, we need to find out what's going on, because this is just another thing, and along with immigration and some other things, some things are distractions. However, this how they're moving and what they're doing is a distraction to some of this stuff with the Epstein files and the victims. And so we'll chat with her about that along with immigration. We'll also chat with her about Black economic development and wealth gaining. There's been a lot of interesting things on social media about this Black woman and her Black man husband ability to gain wealth. So, all right, we will see everyone back here at 12 noon. Thank you all for being with us today, and we'll see you again at noon for a midday Java with our Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. Again, thank you all for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace, everyone.